And good Saturday morning. Welcome to Sports Talk. Sorry for the disruptions one night ago when we were unable to get on the air to bring you the high school football game of the week, but hopefully we'll have that all worked out when we'll be doing our final high school football game.
Yeah, we got to get that worked out because we would have had a massive audience last night, I think.
Yeah, we saw a massive audience.
We saw a crowd like I've never seen before at East Lincoln High School for an athletic event.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was told the big hill after you come under the bridge that you climb to go into East Lincoln if you're going 73.
Mm-hmm.
I was told there was cars all the way to the bridge on the side of the road
on
both sides.
That's
a good hike. I mean, when you think about that, that's a pretty good walk, especially like the old people used to say, it's uphill both ways.
All the way to the bridge. Wow. Yeah, that's.
And we saw a lot of vehicles, a lot of people, but go ahead and just throw it out there. East Lincoln a winner last night, 14-7 over South Point to win the 3A West Regional Championship. That's right, the 3A. In the past, their regional championships, what they have in the past three, were all 2A.
All 2A.
2A West Regional champs. So, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, they make the move up, and in a couple years, they're there.
They play if you want to know their opponent, it's Northern Nash. Northern Nash was the 1 seed coming out of the East in 3A. They are a perfect 14-0, and they won last night.
Or 15-0.
Yeah, 15-0. Right. They won last night 23-22.
Gosh.
23-22.
Drama.
Now, Brad, you kept up with that a little bit. Did they ever trail in that game?
Yeah, I think so.
And did they trail at the end and have to? I don't know the answer to that. I just wonder if they trailed at the end and had to score.
Well, that game was 10-0 after 3 quarters
in favor of
Northern Nash. Yeah, and then it kind of
shut them out for 3 quarters.
Went back and forth in the fourth. 71st scored all 22 of their points in the fourth quarter. And they did take a lead.
That makes me wonder if there was a kick return or a pick six.
Big play.
Something that the offense didn't score on, because both these teams were known for their dominating defense.
Yeah,
right?
Northern Nash has given up 147 now, so right at 10 points a game.
Which is good.
Yeah.
East Lincoln's is dynamite. They're only giving up about
80
6
something.
About 6 points, a little over 6 points a game. And that didn't get hurt much last night by giving up 7.
In the East Lincoln win last night, guys, this 14-7 win, which I'm not going to put Mike on the spot. I can't wait to see the total yards by each team.
I didn't even figured
I figured that, but I'm just guessing there was a lot more yardage than there was scoring.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it seemed like the teams. It wasn't the defensive battle that the score indicates. And you know what I'm saying? I thought the teams moved the ball at times, but only 3 touchdowns.
I think South Point punted.
They punted a lot.
5 times and had the football.
But they would pick up some first downs most of the time before they punted.
Yeah. But that's been kind of the way East Lincoln's defense has been in the playoffs. They might give up some yards between the 20s, as they say, but they find a way to make big plays, whether it's on third down, forcing the other team into third down long, or making a play on a fourth down to force a turnover on downs. They've done that too.
All 3 of us in the room here. 4 of us in the room.
Yeah,
three of the 4 of us.
4 of us
in the room saw that game last night.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the most physical game you saw all year, or was it the most physical?
Well, anytime you play South Point, you know you're going to get your nose blooded a little bit, and it was physical.
Yeah, and East Lincoln also plays very physical.
They play a very physical style as well, defensively for sure.
But you didn't answer my question.
I don't know if it was the most, but considering the size and strength of the players on the field, if you throw that in, then yeah, it probably was.
I bet you could have heard a lot of contact from the sidelines last night from both teams.
Because both teams have some really big kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to say it was.
I thought it was. I mean, it just came to my mind. That's probably the most. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
As Seth would say, I didn't give it to Sharpie, but it just in my mind. And always the most recent one's what you're going to remember anyway. I just can't remember another one, a physical game like that last night on both sides. You know, I mean, you might have a team that's dominating and they're physical or something, but
Yeah.
you know, East Lincoln was very physical the night we saw them at St. Stephen's.
Oh,
But it didn't get matched on the other side. Last
no.
night, you know, it was two-way.
it
Yeah,
was.
so,
Yeah.
um,
And, the Kings Mountain game really didn't get that chance because Kings Mountain got knocked back so quickly. I mean, they really didn't have a chance to.
Well, one streak ended. East Lincoln didn't score on their first 3 possessions last night. You
I know,
um,
like they'd done
yeah.
throughout the playoffs.
Yep. They still did score on the opening drive, though.
Yeah.
They, and converted a big 3rd and 10, maybe
10 or 11. Yeah.
early in the, or about midway through the drive, I guess you'd say, around the 50-yard
They had
line.
chances to add to that lead. Of course, they missed a couple field goals.
They did. They missed a pair of field goals last night.
One of them was fairly long, which I understand.
Right.
Um,
And the other one, honestly, was not at a good angle.
no, the
Not
angle
for the
was
kick.
poor.
It was the football was not in the center of the field. It was way over on the right half.
Oh, they got a really good kicker in Chris Millett. I mean, he
Mhm.
usually on kickoffs he booms it into the end zone. There's no return, so they do a good job there, and he's really good on extra points. But
I want to throw this out there real quick though, and we're going to talk about the high school later on as well. But for the people that got in their cars and decided to beat the traffic, South Point had a chance at the end of that game last night. They got the ball back one last time with 40 seconds to go maybe. They drove the ball downfield, got into East Lincoln territory. East Lincoln picked up a face mask.
Yeah, it was a face
got
mask.
it,
A personal
got
foul
it to
face
what,
mask.
12,
Had
15
it on the
yard
12-yard line.
12-yard line.
And I thought they would get 2 plays out of it. I thought
9 seconds
was it
left.
9?
9 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, you should get 2 plays
You
out
should.
of that if you do it correctly. In NFL, it's never a problem. You're going to get 2 plays out of that, But on first down and goal, well, not goal, first down and 10 from the 12, they threw a pick
Yep.
right into the hands of Ben Cutter,
Ben Cutter.
and that sealed the deal for the Mustangs.
And so symbolic for Cutter to make that game clinching play
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
been
He's been the leader.
the
of the
leader of that
defense.
defense for a couple years and certainly played a terrific game last night. Offense, well, on offense too.
He
He
did.
did some great blocking.
Had a touchdown run, didn't he?
Yeah.
Scored one of
The
the 2 touchdowns.
This last half
For the
of the year, they used him as an H back, just a blocking back. We've seen his influence, and hey, he can run the football too if you need that, particularly on short yardage.
Get a text, or just read it real quick from Ned this morning.
All right.
I believe there's too many teams. I still believe there's too many teams, but I agree with you. That's not going to change. When you get to the end, the cream rises to the top. This shows me, and you can argue Max Preps all you want. Max Preps rankings get it right. Max Preps rankings get it right. You got 3 1 seeds playing in the state championship.
Yep.
You got a pair of 2 seeds. No, let me take that back. You got 4 1 seeds out of the 8, and 2 more are 2 seeds, and the others are 4.
Yeah.
There's
Easily nobody below that.
no. What's the word I'm looking for in here? No,
Cinderella, Dark Horse.
yeah.
I don't know.
There's not one there.
Yeah.
Not one there.
Yeah.
And a 3's the only thing left out. 2 4s, which means those 2 4s knocked off the 1s. Most likely, unless the 1s were already out, but most likely those 4s.
Well, East Lincoln did. They were a
Not-
4.
They
East
knocked
Lincoln,
off
they
a
beat
1.
Kings
That's
Mountain.
right. Yep. Yeah, and we've seen
And who was the other 4?
We've seen East Lincoln's the best team, but the strength of schedule cost them
Yeah.
the 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
Was
right.
Mount Area 4?
they may have been. I'm not sure. They may have been.
Eastern Randolph was the 1,
That's
and Mount
right.
Airy beat them.
Yeah, that would have been a 4 beating a 1 because it was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
exactly right. Mount Airy and East Lincoln, and Mount Airy and East Lincoln are going to be 2 4s that win the state championship. Mount Airy's got their hands full with Tarboro, but I think they can win it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how good Tarboro is, if they have the talent that they have had.
and I shouldn't say that about East Lincoln because I don't throw a thing about Northern Ash. And the part I do know, it should scare me, right? I mean, they give up 10 points a game.
They're
They're
undefeated.
14-0, 15-0.
Yeah.
Mike's already told me 15-0. And
That's scary.
So maybe I'm underestimating
I can't imagine they're better than East Lincoln.
But more often than not, the West gets the best of the East.
And East Lincoln is so balanced
Yeah,
on offense.
they are.
And I doubt Northern Nash has that same. I don't know. I doubt they have that same kind of balance.
Brett made me aware last night. East Duplin has only been to state championship game one time, right? And that was when they played High Brighton. Neither of those schools have won a state title, and High Brighton beat them. And now East Duplin finally gets back in there, and they got to play Reidsville.
I know, that's a shame for them.
It is. It is.
If there's any of the title games, I would, put the mortgage on. It would have to be Reidsville and East Duplin.
You could have left the second part blank. Reidsville
And yeah.
I'm not. I think they could compete against 4A.
This is the most dominating run I've seen.
Yeah.
In the playoffs recently, and I know, of course, some of those Charlotte teams were amazing too.
96-4 in their last 100. Can you imagine?
Nobody. You queried that to a couple people last night in the press box,
and their eyes.
And they
got
were coming
big.
up with 82-18, 88-12, 96-4.
Except for one guy, he nailed it. You know who it was?
No.
I don't know if he knew it already. He didn't let me own that he knew it already. Maiden coach Will Byrne.
Oh, Will Byrne
we were
got
talking,
it right.
Yeah, we were
Okay.
talking about it, and he said 96-4. I said you hit it.
God.
You hit it.
Yeah, he knew.
On the nose. Well, he just knew about the program and how dominant it's been. Three of the losses were to teams that beat them in the playoffs and won the state championship. Three of them.
Shelby in 21.
Yeah, Shelby in 21, and Brett. Do you even have a clue who the others? One of them they lost state championship game. Was that Wallace Rosehill?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wallace Rosehill is one of those.
I didn't know if that was in the last 100 games,
I think it
but they
was.
did
Yeah.
in 2017. Lost to
Well,
Wallace
if
Rosehill.
they play 16 a year, I still think you're under 100.
Yeah, and 1 year they didn't play 16. It was more like 11 or 12 games.
Last
the COVID year.
Yeah.
Well, last year they didn't make it to 16 either.
No.
Made it to 15, right? Even the years they don't make it to 16, they play 15. I know Shelby beat them last year,
Yeah.
and that wasn't in the state championship game.
No, it was in the regional final. No,
That's
not
what I'm
even the
asking.
regional final.
It was
Third
a round
round.
before.
Right, so they only
Fourth
played
round.
13.
Because Shelby beat East Surrey
14
in the
last
regional
year.
final.
Yeah,
They only played 14 last year then.
that's right.
But the other than those 2A teams that went on to win the state was this year's Greensboro Page loss, which is a 4A school, and that score was very respectable if you go look at it.
Yeah.
And Reidsville is winning this game. I mean, these games, and not just winning these games, but dominating these games. While Mike plays the piano.
The Masters
Saturday.
was coming on.
Sorry about that. You
Hello,
expect
friends.
To get a call on Saturday at 8:30.
Made me lose my train of thought totally. Reidsville's winning his games without a high-powered offense. I mean, let's face it. They don't have the high-powered offense that they usually have. But the defense is probably a little better than their average defense, which their average defense is,
Well, Reidsville has a pretty good quarterback, and they have receivers that can break big plays. They have great speed.
That's obvious.
Their top running back averages about 40 yards a game. I mean, they don't run the ball real well.
Mike. You got a volume button on that thing,
Yeah,
Mike?
I do now. I'll just turn it off. How's that?
I doubt it. You probably
But-
don't even know how.
That's the reason they would not compete against the 4A powers. They wouldn't be able to score.
Yeah. How many losses do you think the teams in the state finals this year have combined? I know that's just a random question, but how many losses does the 8 teams
8 teams.
that are playing in the
I'll say 12.
18.
8 teams? How many losses are there?
Well, I don't think
combined?
anybody has more than 2, and most of them have 1 or none. So I'd say
Well, on this side, Grimsley, they don't have any, right?
Well, don't sit there and try to figure it out. I just want you.
Well, I already gave my guess.
Yeah. Mike's
that's
Mike's
what,
trying to do math in his head.
What was your guess?
12.
I'm saying 9.
4.
4 losses. Wow.
4 15-0s, a 13-1, a 14-1, a 14-1, and a 14-1.
Well, Reidsville has
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Reidsville has a loss to Page. East Surrey has, or Mount Airy has a loss to East Surrey.
Yeah.
And the other two must be on the
Well, the 3A and 4A are both
east
60 and 0. In the 3A and the 4A, it's combined 60 and 0.
So East Duplin has
Which
a loss.
makes more sense because your smaller schools are losing to bigger schools most of the time.
I think
just like
East
we talked
Duplin's
about
loss was
Reidsville.
to Princeton.
Yeah, it was. It was. Very
Another
close, like a
2A.
1-point game maybe. So that means Mount Airy's got one to East Surrey, you said, and their opponent is who? Tell me again. Tarboro. They have a loss. I think it was either the first
Probably
or
a
second game
bigger.
of the year.
It's probably a bigger school.
Yep. But yeah, it was that. What's the name of that school out there in Vegas that has like 5,000 students?
Bishop Gorman.
Yeah, Bishop Gorman. Maybe they played them. Invited them to Tarboro, from Vegas to Tarboro.
Speaking of state title games, Facebook here.
It was
Bob
Hertford
Duckworth
County.
thinks the 3A title game could be a 3-0 or a 7-6 type game.
I wouldn't.
That wouldn't surprise
What was it
me.
last night at half, Brett, with Northern Nash 10-0?
3-0
3-0.
at half.
3-0 at halftime. 3-0 at halftime last night. Yep.
Could be low scoring.
Yep. Yep. Maybe we'll be home before 1 a.m.
We're not spending the night? Oh, man. I thought we had the expense account.
Yeah, Tarboro's loss was to Hertford County.
Mike's always ready to use somebody else's money, isn't he?
I wish I had a comeback for that one. I was thinking one.
Say it again, Brett.
Tarboro's loss was to Hertford County, which is a good 2A team.
A good 2A team, okay. And it was early in the year. What, its first or second game? Where they might have just been,
It was, second game, 56-54.
East Surrey did defeat Tarboro 1 out of 3 years. I think they played them 3 times, didn't they, and beat them once. But this Mount Airy team, I think, is,
Well, you know how East Surrey beat them was with the pass.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mount Airy throws the ball like – I know they don't do it like East Surrey did that year because that was –
And we'll go ahead and tell you, East Surrey had 6 D1 players
One
on
of
that
the
1A
best.
team. 6 D1s on that 1A team,
Yeah.
including Boaz. What was his first name?
yeah, Jefferson.
Jefferson Boaz, who I saw him standing on the sideline at UNC this year. I think they had 4 or 5 go to Carolina.
How about their 6'8", 6'7" quarterback? I know he didn't go as a quarterback to Carolina.
As we just
That's who
talked
he's
about.
talking
That's
about.
him?
Mhm.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
is
he
him.
went
And his brother plays
as a tight end.
Yeah.
But I think he still might end up playing some quarterback.
Well, me and Brett saw him playing. I've never seen a passing game like they had in a state
Yeah,
championship
you raved
game. And,
about that one.
yeah, I would get if they didn't want me to play quarterback, I'm going somewhere else
Yeah.
because his talent is at quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was how tall? 6.
He's about 6'7" or 6'8".
And you don't see a lot of quarterbacks that tall in the NFL.
No.
I'll say that. Justin Herbert's probably the tallest quarterback right now in the NFL.
And he wasn't slim either. I mean, he's pretty big.
He was. Yeah, he was. A rifle of an arm. I mean, I just want to go somewhere I could throw the football.
And then they
around.
had
Well,
the
since there's already hundreds of names pouring into the portal, maybe his will be one. Who knows?
the Gosnell kid, Stephen Gosnell. He was their top receiver, and he went to Carolina.
Yeah.
But I think he's left and moved somewhere else.
I couldn't help but get started on high school football because at the point where we are in the season and state championships coming up next. But you guys know, it's here. Big day.
Yep.
Big day.
Yep.
What is it?
Championship Saturday.
Oh, the U.S. World Cup. 10
Netherlands versus the USA.
Oh,
10 a.m.
Soccer. Oh, wake me up.
I heard
Okay,
yesterday. You guys know how I listened to. Lenny said 3 of those East Surrey players went to Carolina. You guys know how I follow Dan Patrick and listen to his show as much as I can. But yesterday they did a poll on there. You can watch the World Cup game on Saturday morning, or you can watch college football over the weekend. Which one are you taking? And after you guys give me yours, I will tell you. I know what Mike says without even asking, really. But after you guys give me yours, I'll tell you what the poll results were on Dan's show yesterday. You're going to watch all the college football you want on Saturday, or are you going to watch this morning's World Cup if you can only pick one? And it's Netherlands versus USA.
Well, I might tune in a little bit because
You can't do that. I stop right there. You
No.
can do one
College football.
or the other.
No.
I might tune in a little bit. He cheated for he.
Only because they do have to score here. There is no kneel, right? There's got to be somebody's.
Brett
gotta
can tell us the answer to that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Right.
they're in an elimination
Yeah.
round now, so somebody's
But
got to win.
It can't be
Okay.
kneel, right? It can't be.
Is that nothing?
I think that's what
It can
call
end,
In Southern terms?
and then they would have to do, a penalty shootout.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, they could
Okay.
still go 120 minutes without scoring.
Now you're going to watch it, aren't you, Brett?
I'm going to try to.
I like
If
defense,
If I get
but-
to go straight home from here,
But I
will.
want to know.
No, I would not. I would choose a full day of college football
Okay.
over the World Cup. Now, if it was just
and Mike
one,
would too, I'm
Oh,
sure.
no.
if it was just one college game, there's not one that I want to see that desperately.
I'll let you guys guess how the national poll went.
The big game I wanted to see was last night, and the outcome was exactly what I wanted to see, and that was Southern
A thumping
Cal
of the Trojans.
Wow.
Of Southern Cal.
going down.
Brett is not a fan of the
I'm
quarterback.
not unhappy about that either because of the defector, the traitor, the Benedict Arnold, Lincoln Riley. So
Mike hates coaches that move.
yeah.
Yet, if a
No.
Charlotte radio station called Mike today and said, I will quadruple your salary to come out here and do sports talk on there, would you go, Mike?
I don't think Southern Cal offered
That
him
ain't the
that
question.
much more than
That ain't the
that's
question.
a hypothetical question.
Right.
So there is no.
I don't
answer
blame
for it.
any coach for making a move because guess what? It's more money. More
Okay.
money. More money. And what human,
Okay.
99 out of 100 are going to go for it?
I don't think it was a matter of money for Riley.
I
to
think
go
it was
for
both.
move. Yeah,
It's a glamorous job,
I know what it really was.
and the paycheck's a lot
He
better.
thought he could get to the national championship game through Southern Cal easier than he could Oklahoma because Oklahoma's going to the SEC. But now Southern Cal's going to the Big Ten.
you
That'll
can
be
stop,
hard.
You can
too.
stop right there. Oklahoma had no chance of getting in the playoffs. All he had to do was win last night, and he is in the playoffs. So,
Oh, I know.
yes, it was
Hey,
a much better chance.
Don't get me wrong; he's a heck of a coach. He's
Yeah.
probably the best offensive.
Yeah, but
mind in the
if he had
college game.
stayed at Oklahoma and that quarterback had stayed with him, I think they would have been in that same situation.
Gave me two ifs there, and that second one didn't even involve him.
He's-
Oh, you know.
Well, if he stayed at Oklahoma, that quarterback's
Do you
not going
think?
to
yeah,
Southern
it's
Cal.
all about
He's-
the quarterback, and
Okay.
he's a great. He's
Is
terrific.
that the quarterback that plays?
Yeah,
Is that-
Caleb
yeah.
Williams?
So he
yeah.
jumped.
Yeah, he's the one that he started at Oklahoma.
But
last
he had,
year.
he had the Heisman wrapped up. I don't know about after last
I hope he
night.
don't, because after what Brett told me about him, I don't want him to win anything.
Why is that?
Brett said he had his fingernails painted last week when they played Notre Dame with the
Mm-hmm.
F word on one hand and ND on the other. And if your coach don't suspend you for something like that,
Yeah,
I don't have a
he's-
lot of respect
I
for
don't
He
him.
like
says he
that.
likes to put messages that motivate him
Yeah.
on his
Yeah.
fingernails, and that's what he
Yeah,
went
but
with
that's-
against Notre Dame.
That's not a good
If
one.
his head coach don't
It's not
suspend him,
appropriate.
there is a problem. I didn't realize he did
yeah,
that.
that's not appropriate.
I don't know why not just put beat ND.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to.
I don't care if he puts hate.
Yeah.
I hate.
How
but-
about
but
why,
don't
why,
put-
why, why don't he put he
kids
ha-
are watching, man.
How about
Come on.
that famous? He should have put he hate me on
Yeah,
there.
or I hate
Remember
he.
that one? I hate he.
In that case, it would be I hate he.
I hate he.
Oh,
Speaking of Notre Dame, Brett, Drew Pine no longer on the pine for Notre Dame in the portal.
Yep. Yeah, they're expected to bring in a transfer.
Okay. So
I've already heard
figured
there's
you knew it, but
their quarterback that got hurt in the second game this year, Tyler Buckner. There's a good chance he's back and will play in the bowl game.
I thought maybe he was going to tell me Brady's signing with. No,
Yeah.
maybe. Bring Tommy
So
in.
and they're also they got to recruit, a 4-star quarterback coming in next year. So yeah, Drew Pine would not have been the starter next year. So it's the best thing for him.
yeah.
Mm.
I wonder how many other top tier quarterbacks might be moving on. It's going to be fascinating. College football free agency.
Well, Dan always talks about if your name is Drake May, and Ohio State said, "We're just missing a quarterback.
That's
You
right.
interested in winning a national
Yeah,
title?"
because C.J. Stroud's moving on to the NFL.
Where'd he go?
Yeah.
I mean,
Good question.
and not just Ohio State, but think of others. I mean, it might call him and
We
say,
already got guys opting out of the bowl game.
Well, I think Notre Dame would be a great
But we
spot
talked-
for him, but I don't think he's leaving.
No, we talked a little bit about this before. He is a Carolina guy because the family went to Carolina. He's
Yeah.
not. He's
I don't-
not.
yeah,
He's not
but-
going to leave. He's going to see how many games, and I admire him for that. He's going to stay there and see how many games. But then again, wait a minute. Maybe I should stop right there. What if the NIL package was $2 million to come to Ohio State?
Yeah.
I mean,
Plus, you got all those great receivers.
and you're not sure you're going to make money in the NFL. Anything could happen
No,
between
that's right.
then. I mean, right now he's
Exactly right.
projected as the top quarterback when he does come out.
Right.
But
Even after just his freshman year.
it would be nice. I can imagine how much. How old is he at this point?
20, I guess.
19, 20.
There's a lot of 20-year-old. I'm sure his family is.
Well, he's been in college
in
for 2
good
years
shape.
now.
But to have $2 million of your own money, just to go play at Ohio State for a year.
Did he redshirt last year, or is he a sophomore legitimately?
I don't think he redshirted.
Okay.
I don't know that for sure, but I don't think he did.
So he played behind Sam
Howell.
Sam Howell.
And I was thinking he played in their bowl game last year because Sam Howell,
Opted out.
chose not to play. And I think Sam Howell was dealing with an injury.
Those two great
too,
words
but
that we love in the sports industry.
out.
Opt out.
That's
Opted out.
that's what I hate about bowl season now.
I do
So
too.
many of the best players don't play,
I know.
and it's because the game's really meaningless to them.
No, that's right.
Okay, here's a little bit on those guys from East Surrey. Lenny sends me this. Those guys from East Surrey that went to Carolina. So he said the third player that went there, other than the ones we had named, which were Gosnell and
Boaz.
was wide receiver Landon Stevens. He says that Gosnell's already transferred to Virginia Tech, where his younger brother Benji plays,
Yeah, I knew he had left.
and he may be a red shirt. So, Virginia Tech recruits North Carolina pretty well. The state of North Carolina. I'm not talking about the university. Evidently, they do that too. But,
Yeah.
but they recruit the state of North Carolina
Yeah, they do.
pretty well. How many players did I hear are in the transfer portal in college football? I thought I heard
1,000.
It's more than that, I think.
Yeah, it's just hundreds and hundreds. I mean, and when's the official day? That's not
I don't
even-
know.
Yeah.
So, what do you mean the official day that
Well,
you cut
isn't it-
off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
If you're in that portal, can another school take you at any time? Can they go ahead and your name's in the portal today? Hey, let me give him a call. Come on.
I don't know how that works.
I don't
Don't
either.
you at least have to finish your semester? I guess you don't.
You're what?
Oh, that's right.
Well, they go to school?
They go to school.
What's a semester?
They go to school, or are they mercenaries? I think they're mercenaries. A couple things on Facebook, guys. For Rembrandt says it'll be Reidsville 48, East Duplin 6.
I'll take some sour grapes there for.
Hmm.
Yesterday he told me he sent me something like 123.
John Davis said
Talked to
he'll
Coach
be.
Byrne last night. He was
Yeah.
he was telling me all about how impressed he was with just how good Reidsville was
I know.
and how fast they are.
John
But
Davis.
you're right. I'm sorry, Mike, but you're
ahead.
right. Reidsville's not. I think the only teams that would have a chance to beat Reidsville would be the 4A teams.
All right.
You know, they're just that good.
Well, about your poll, John Davis, World Cup for him with many, many exclamation points afterward. Link Poly, college football. Man, figured.
There
Link
you go.
would
It's ours is going to lean toward football. Dan Patrick's poll was 62-38.
Well, don't
So
y'all think
two-thirds
the
in favor
biggest
of football?
college football game was last night? The most meaningful?
Oh yeah,
Well, TCU's game.
well, that's pretty meaningful.
have some
TCU, Kansas State's man.
Do you think TCU's out if they
That's
lose?
the question of the day.
that is the question?
Because Michigan's not out if they lose,
No.
and Georgia's not out if they lose.
Let's do it this way. Let's let people tell us if TC loses by blank, they will be eliminated and not in the playoffs.
But even if that game matters,
You can tell me one. You can tell me 25.
how many people around here you think are watching TCU and Kansas State today?
I am. I
mean,
mean,
I
I
watch a
will.
little
I'll
bit
tune
of it.
into that.
Starts
Number
at
one, I
11.
like to watch K-State play.
The most interesting game to me is Georgia and LSU, and it means nothing.
Yeah.
That's
It
right.
does to LSU. They could be SEC champs.
They
That's
could,
right.
but they're still not
And
going
Georgia.
to playoff.
I think Georgia wants to play it. Wants to win it though, don't you?
Oh yeah.
All I know
They'll
is
have to win it.
out of all the teams out there, I've told Brett this. I think Alabama's the one they want to keep out because Alabama lost 2 games by 1 possession in overtime to 2 teams that were very hot, LSU and Tennessee.
Now, could we make a better case for Bama than an Ohio State team that got
You'll not
blown
make a
out
better
at
case
home?
because it's 2 losses versus 1, but Alabama would beat Ohio State if they played today. I think. Don't you?
I think Alabama's better.
Yeah.
I do too.
So are they going to put in the best teams, or are they going to they only have 1 loss?
Well, if they put in the best teams, Ohio State is better than TCU.
Yeah, they are.
So they're not putting in the best
I know.
teams.
Yeah, you're right. But what else?
I mean,
What else
Southern
can you
Cal,
do?
despite that loss last night, is better than TCU.
As much as I hate to say it, what else can you do if you're on that committee and TCU has ran the table and they win today and
you got to put them in. They're
You gotta
I know,
put 'em in.
I know,
undefeated
you do.
in a Power 5
Even
conference.
if you don't think they're one of the 4 best, you just
So
have
you don't put the 4
Yeah.
best teams.
Yeah,
in.
I guess you're right.
That's
guess
just
But
how the system
we-
works.
It's a moot point, guys, because in starting in 2024.
There'll be 12 teams, and then we'll be arguing about number 13.
Yeah,
But that's okay. I'd rather argue about 13.
That's a
than-
lesser argument than who are the best.
13 maybe should have made it, but they're
Yeah.
99% not a chance to win it.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
right now you do have how many teams could win the national title? Tell me the names of the teams right now.
this year?
If they were in, could win the national title.
I think a lot. I think Utah could win it.
I do too.
They looked awful good last
Because I don't
night.
think Georgia is as good as they were last year.
And
They're
Utah
not.
has 3 losses. They lost their opener to Florida. They lost to UCLA, I think. Somebody had to help me with that.
Yeah, the other 2 had to be conference games.
I think they lost one they shouldn't have. UCLA, I could see them losing.
They did. They did lose
UCLA's
one they
pretty good.
shouldn't have
Yeah.
lost.
But the loss to Florida, they really shouldn't have lost because Florida didn't have a really great
No,
season.
they didn't have a
But that
great
was the
season.
first
Oregon.
game of the
They
year.
lost at Oregon,
Oregon.
20-17.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
guys, I know people make fun of the Pac-12, but they were pretty solid this year.
Would Utah be in
It's a
if
good
we had
conference.
12?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
With
they were
3
ranked.
losses?
They were ranked 11th
Yeah.
before last night.
they'd be in.
They would be scary.
That'd be a scary team.
They would be scary. What's their coach's name? Anybody know? I mean, I don't even know. I'm just sitting here trying to.
I
rattle
can't
this.
remember, and I just saw him interviewed a couple times last night.
Okay, here's what Ford says: if TCU loses today, he thinks Ohio State and Bama both get in.
And TCU's out.
And that's possible. I mean, I just think that if TCU loses by 1, they're not going anywhere. They're in. They may drop to the 4 spot. And I mean, could Ohio State pass TCU if TCU loses by 1 today? I guess they could if
that's
people think they could drop out.
That's a big question.
You know, because right now, would you not say it's going to be Michigan, Ohio State, TCU, and Georgia? If there were no more games, that's the way it would be, right?
yeah,
I'm putting Ohio State in place
I was
of Southern Cal
hearing
because they were 5th.
last night about the possibility of Alabama passing Ohio State, and I just don't know how that could happen.
If it didn't pass them last week, and neither one of them play,
Yeah.
how are they going to? Now, I will say this, though. People might rearrange their votes because the other teams have to shift. So they maybe could. You know, the people that voted for TCU 3rd might now vote for Alabama 3rd. I don't even know if that's how they do it. If they rank them 1, 2, 3, and 4, if they just, but I guess it is. But I guess they could just because the numbers would shift a little bit because TCU wouldn't be getting votes. You know, Southern Cal, their voting's going to actually drop too, and there might have been some people had them as number 1.
Let's look at Ohio State's best wins: Notre Dame and
Yeah.
Penn State.
Michigan?
I'm sorry, Penn State.
I'll say this: Penn State would be in the playoffs if there was 12.
Yeah.
They said that the
Let's
other
look
day.
at Alabama's best wins.
Well, you always have the best wins if you play in the
If you
SEC.
play in the SEC.
I mean, you really do.
And they also had the best losses.
Well, not really. Ohio State lost to Michigan.
They got blown out.
They did get blown out.
I'm talking about the
I know.
nature of the game.
I agree with that part. The second half they got manhandled, but
I know they were leading.
and like I said, I mean, I'll take up for Alabama here because they did lose 2 overtime games to teams. Tennessee was playing great.
It was at Neyland Stadium.
It was at Tennessee, and it was like a 50-49 or something overtime game. And then on the other one, it was LSU
at Baton Rouge
at LSU, right?
on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean that's
when it's downright
and they were hot at the
hellacious.
time. They had won 5 or 6 in a row, I think, at the time as well.
Yeah, just like Bear Bryant said, it's downright hellacious.
I'll put it this way: nobody's told me how many points it takes to knock. Well, one person did. 4 did. 4 said if TCU just loses, period. So I'm saying he says by 1 point that he thinks the others will get in.
Yeah. Link Pauly says, who played the toughest schedule, Ohio State or Alabama? I think it's pretty well, I think Alabama did.
Yeah, there ain't. Yeah.
Don Revel, going back to the
Gauntlet.
players sitting out bowl games, Don Revel says, what about inserting clauses with the NIL deals requiring players to play in bowl games?
Yeah,
I love it.
I think so. If you
I
get
love
the
it.
NIL, I mean, I like that.
This is why another reason you got to expand the playoffs, and I'm glad they're finally doing it because there won't be near as many sitting out
No,
for a playoff.
not when you're involving.
I hate it for you,
24
Mike,
teams.
but the Rose
Right.
Bowl's useless now,
I know.
except for when it's involved in the playoff.
I know.
Same with the Orange Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, all those big-time bowls. They're useless unless it's part of the playoff.
I know. Well, the Rose Bowl was the last domino to fall. They had to,
You'll have your bragging rights for the rest of your life. When I was a senior at so-and-so, we won the Rose Bowl,
Yeah.
But when they're 20 years from now, what's a kid
Well,
going
who
to say
gets
that?
in-
The what?
Yeah.
We know Utah is going to the Rose Bowl. Out of the Big Ten, obviously, if Michigan wins it, they're not going to the Rose Bowl.
Nope.
Is it the runner-up? Is it
What
Purdue?
if Ohio State gets into the
I think the
Final
runner-up.
Four?
I think I'm pretty sure it just goes to the next team.
Because if you go by,
But then again, that might not be as glamorous
Purdue
as the Rose Bowl
Boilermakers?
wants
Purdue Boilermakers.
because
in the Rose Bowl.
you got Penn State, who's better and ranked higher than Purdue.
Yeah, but they didn't win their division.
The Rose Bowl committee, I don't know this. They may get to select the Big Ten team
Yeah.
they want, and if they do, they're taking Penn
They're
State.
taking Penn State.
They're taking Penn State
And
Yeah, do
obviously,
you really want to see a Purdue, Utah?
without
Rose
Drew
Bowl?
Brees.
Yeah,
Without
Drew
Drew
Brees.
and wasn't the Rose Bowl last year? Utah and Ohio State.
I think it was.
So we could see a
And wasn't it a
rematch.
very close
That was
game?
Yeah, it
a
was.
great, that
High
was a great
scoring.
game.
I don't even remember who won.
That's
but
one of the,
Ohio State won.
like
It was-
45, 42 or
it
something.
was
like
high
that.
scoring.
it
Yeah.
was one of the best Rose Bowls offensively recently. It was a
Lenny's-
back and
Lenny
And they
says-
did it with big time players sitting out.
We
I
got
know.
we got to take a timeout. Lenny says real quick, if TCU loses a close game, he thinks they may survive.
Does he? Okay.
They may survive.
May.
He said, but then he ended with, "But I think they are out."
What's their non-conference slate like? Who did they
I
didn't
don't
play
know.
anybody? Didn't they?
I don't even.
I
remember.
doubt
I don't even remember them playing a non-conference game. I mean, it's so far back now that I can't remember who they played in non-conference.
Well, here, I'll tell you.
Colorado, Tarleton. That's their. Yeah, who?
Tarleton.
I thought that was a brand of cigarettes.
I did too.
Colorado, Tarleton State, SMU. SMU's the best out of those three.
Yeah, and it was close. It was one possession, 8-point game.
Here's Rich Hauser said, talking about a bowl taking a lesser team. That's what happened in the Orange Bowl when Carolina played it. Clemson was in the playoffs. Carolina was chosen since they were the highest rated team in the ACC, and Notre Dame went to a different bowl.
So that's how they should do it. The highest
Yeah.
rated team.
Highest rated, not
Right.
necessarily
Not go with the
runner-up.
Not
runner-up.
necessarily
Yeah.
the runner-up from another,
Which
a
means
winner of
Penn
another
State would
division.
probably.
If Ohio State made the playoff, then Penn State would go to
I'll
the
put it this
Rose
way:
Bowl.
Purdue wins today, they're going to the Rose Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that will increase their, that'll
Yeah.
boost them ahead of everybody else.
Yeah. And you got the Big Ten champion, as it, used to be.
So what we're saying is Michigan really doesn't even have to hardly show up today. They're in.
I don't think you can.
I don't think it matters.
I think
they
they're in,
can
but
lose by 3 touchdowns and they're still in.
You know what? I wouldn't.
And same for Georgia.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
put them in on
I-
purpose because it'd almost be like they were tanking.
Tanking,
if they
that's
lost,
right. But they're not going to.
But you can't. That's one.
They
thing
did
you
lose
can't
their
do.
running back.
Is he out?
He's done.
out?
Yeah.
Backup
For the
wasn't
year?
too bad.
No, their backup did look pretty good, but Corum
He ran
is,
for what last week? 200 yards and a half?
Corum is finished.
He is finished.
Yeah.
For the year.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he had to have surgery.
We got to take a quick timeout. One more comment before we go. The committee may be a little gun shy after taking a one-loss TCU after taking undefeated Cincinnati last year. Yeah, Cincinnati didn't really look like they belonged in the picture.
No, they didn't,
So
did they?
let's take a timeout. Back with more sports talk here in a moment.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
though before that. Try that again. And welcome back to Sports Talk. 2 minutes of music talk. We lost Christine McVie this past week. A lot of Fleetwood Mac on the radio this week in honor of Christine McVie. Trivia question. Christine McVie's maiden name. I know that's kind of out there.
She joined one of the members. I mean, she married one of the members of Fleetwood Mac, John McVie.
Yep. What was her maiden name?
Oh, boy.
I found it.
Tough.
Fleetwood.
Just Fleet. No, I'm kidding.
Nix.
No, it wasn't that either. It's we know it more as just a word that describes something instead of a name. As a matter of fact, and I heard this on one of the channels that's playing a lot of Fleetwood Mac talking about what her maiden name was, and I've never heard anybody with that last name before in my life, as far as
So I have no chance of getting it.
Yeah, you do. It's just a everyday adjective.
Great.
You are very close. You are very close, and not. You're very close in meaning, not in spelling.
What was the word? Great, you said. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Rodney Willis, he has looked it up already, and he got it.
He got it.
Perfect.
Bingo.
Wow.
Not bingo, but perfect. Yes.
I did read. Now, in retrospect, I did read that.
There was a wrestler named Mr. Perfect, but that wasn't his last name.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I get called that every every day, and it's not my real name either. I'm like you, Rodney. Heard it on the radio. Exactly. I heard that this week, that her maiden name was Perfect. I've never heard anybody with that name. Have you? You guys?
Do you know what year she joined Fleetwood Mac?
You want me to guess? I mean, because it's going to be a total guess.
Yeah.
68.
Nope.
Well, my chances of getting it right on the nose were very slim.
Yeah.
You want to get
1970.
Well, I was close.
Yeah, pretty close.
I was close.
Pretty close.
I'll take that, because usually if you're within 3 years, you win a prize. But yeah, I did. I wouldn't. That was just, like I said, a total guess. Just all I went with was when they started becoming a very popular band. So I asked this today.
Here's another one. You ready for this?
Yes.
What was the name of their follow-up album?
Don't know album names.
Rumors.
Don't know album names. Somebody else out there might can tell us.
What was the name of their follow-up album to Rumors, the runaway all-time best-selling album?
Was it the name of one of the songs?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll never get it.
It was a very unusual
Is it a
name.
one-word name?
One-word name.
Gah, I think I do maybe.
One-word
remember.
name.
Well, Rumors, is one word.
Which
that threw
figures,
me.
right? Yeah.
God, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Rumors. And what letter did it start with?
T.
A T?
Yep.
Titanium. I don't know.
Wasn't Titanic either. Yeah. I figured Lenny might know that one. No.
Yeah. He sent me something else that's football related. I'll get into in just a minute, but I do not know.
It's a prominent feature of a very large land mammal. I mean, how much?
Tusk.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay. I should have remembered that. I can tell you this. One of their videos was done with the Southern Cal Band on the football field, right?
I didn't know that.
In the Rose Bowl. Oh, go back and watch the video of Tusk and see if it don't include the entire Southern California marching band.
Okay.
Am I right on that? Somebody out there that's that follows the music.
As long as it wasn't a Stanford marching band. Just kidding.
They're just in the way.
They're just in the way.
Mike will like this. Lincoln Riley also conniving Lincoln Riley also took big-time wide receiver Jordan Addison, an All-American from Pitt in the late summer.
Oh, I know.
I'm all right with the portal and the players having some rights, but being able to move that late is wrong. That's thievery. And I kind of agree with that because, there should be a cutoff.
They got it, yeah.
Yep. There should be
Just
a
like
cutoff.
there's a cutoff to free agency. There's a time period for that in the NFL, right?
And Ned Yates got your tusk.
He did.
Yep, he sure did.
Yeah, you got it, Ned.
Yeah, I wish I'd have
job.
seen that and pretended like I just guessed it.
Yeah.
Before you saw it. But either way, I'll take it. Lenny says you are correct about the Southern Cal band.
All right.
Being in that.
I got to go back and look at that video.
Yeah, Tusk, the actual song
Tusk
is
the
one
official video had
Yeah.
the Southern Cal band in it. Okay.
It sure did. I sure did. Remember when music videos were a big thing?
Oh yeah.
You do?
Well, I mean, the music video was back in the early 80s.
That's been a long time now, hasn't it?
And
in
the
because
early
we don't see them now.
early days of MTV. Yeah, man, the music video was more important than the song. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say amongst 15 to 30-year-olds, MTV was probably the top watched channel at one time.
Yeah.
Were you a big? Were you ever into it? Was
Yeah.
it too late for you?
It was too late.
No, I liked music videos.
Too early for you. It wasn't too late for you. Was it too early?
Too
for
early
you?
for him.
And they had some good shows
Yeah.
that came on MTV and VH1.
Right.
I always liked VH1's pop-up video where you learn some
Yeah.
stuff.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Facts come up about.
That was good.
That was great.
That was good.
That's where Rodney Willis learned Tusk. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Going back to, you said something about Cincinnati not belonging last year. Don Revel said Michigan didn't look like they belonged last year.
They sure did.
They got beat just as bad or worse.
Yeah, they were the ones that played Georgia, right?
No, they played Alabama.
They played Alabama.
Did they? I don't remember the scores of any of those games, to be honest with you. That's what amazes me is just.
I thought
looking
Michigan
back.
played Georgia. Maybe it was Alabama.
Maybe you're right.
I think Alabama beat Cincinnati.
I think that's true. Yeah. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, somebody that if anybody knows, shoot me those scores in those games last year, and then say so. Who did Georgia beat in the finals?
Alabama.
In a championship game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alabama.
Pretty good.
And how bad was it? You guys act like it was a rout.
Well, I don't think it was. It wasn't a rout, but
How many times since we've had a college football playoff?
Yeah, Don says Michigan played Alabama.
Okay.
right.
Georgia beat Cincinnati.
Okay.
Since we've had the college football playoffs, how many times have we had an all-SEC championship?
No, he says sorry, it was Georgia.
no. Which one was it? Yeah.
I'm still confused. So Georgia played.
Dazed and confused.
Georgia beat Michigan 34-11. It was 27-3 at halftime.
And Alabama beat
Cincinnati.
by.
Don't know. I got to look
yet.
that one up.
Yeah, I'd like to see which one was worse. Because 34-11, that's 23. That's a pretty good thumping.
I think Cincinnati was a little more competitive than that against Bama.
27-6.
Okay. Well, not much more.
Well, good. Actually, 2 points better, right?
Yeah.
It was much closer later in the game, though. I mean, it was 17-6 at the end of the third.
What I see is that they played really good defense, but they could not move the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you held a team to 27. You probably should have a chance of winning. They had no chance because they couldn't. They couldn't move the ball.
Would you say 17-6 at the end of the third?
Yeah.
And now head coach Luke Fickell is headed to.
Wisconsin.
I started to say I can't finish the sentence right now. That's why I stopped.
Wisconsin.
Headed to Wisconsin. Can you win at Wisconsin?
Heck
And
yeah.
I mean win when I say win. Can they get in the ballpark with Michigan and Ohio State? There was a while they were ruling that conference.
Yeah.
But
A national championship last year, Georgia 33-18.
okay.
Yeah,
And it was, at the end of the third quarter, it was only 13-9.
that's right.
Georgia
Georgia scored 20 in the fourth.
I don't know that Wisconsin can play at the Michigan Ohio State level, but I think they can be definitely a player. Yeah,
They can beat them occasionally.
Yeah, they could beat them at Camp.
Well, they got to
Randall on
get
a
back
good day.
to having the great offensive line and running game.
punishing running game. Yeah,
And when they had that, they could compete with everybody.
yeah. A lot of people thought that the assistant coach, who was named interim, what was his name, Jim Leonard, thought that he would get the job. I mean, I think he went 4-2 after they fired previous head coach. But that's a great hire for them, Luke Fickle. I mean,
Auburn made a hire this week, Hugh Freeze.
yeah, that's only at Auburn, where anything goes.
I'm all for it, man. The guy can flat out coach,
Oh,
you know,
yeah, he can coach.
and you know what the most important
What I
thing
don't
is that
like
Auburn
about him-
is beating Alabama, and he can probably do it.
Well, he was part of a conspiracy at Ole Miss to lay all the blame for their violations, institutional control, on the previous coach, which was Houston Nutt.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
Okay.
I cannot hear you there.
Oh, you couldn't hear me. Yeah. Anyway, that was the point. I mean, he was part of that. So,
Say it again. I didn't hear it. Got my
hear
headset on now.
Okay. Well, no, I mean it was part of it was kind of a cover up, really. And Ole
Right.
Miss, the administration, athletics department was involved. When they went out to recruit people, of course, they had these sanctions and violations hanging over their heads. They blamed the violations on the previous coach, who was Houston Nutt. And sort of
Hey, whatever you got to do.
whatever
right?
you got to do,
Yeah.
right?
You can always get the last guy. You know what I remember?
But yeah, you're right. The guy can coach, but I don't know that he's the most ethical person in the
I
room.
remember the most about Freeze whenever Laramie Tunsil during draft night sat on the set and they asked him a flat out question. Just said, "Have you ever received any funding or money from the University of Mississippi?" And he said, "Of course," or something like that.
Yeah.
He didn't try to hide it. Of
Well,
course,
he's had a lot in
Issues.
his history. Didn't he lie to get his first job? Didn't he do something to even get into coaching to start with?
no, that wasn't him. You're thinking about the guy from Georgia Tech that lied on his
yeah.
resume to get the Notre Dame job.
I thought Hugh Freeze did
Well, he
something
may have.
similar.
What was that guy's name though?
George.
Was it
Leary?
O'Reilly or-
George
O'Leary?
George O'Leary, yes.
He left a little leery.
Well, he lied on his resume. He didn't get his college degree. And he
Or whatever
said-
it was, yeah.
And he
but-
said he had a master's.
And he had already accepted the job at Notre Dame, right? And they just turned
Yeah.
around and let him go
That's right.
instantly, didn't
Yeah,
they?
when they found
is
that
not-
out.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, just a couple days.
Isn't that
Yeah.
terrible, though?
Is that the shortest tenure ever as head coach at Notre Dame?
There've been
3
some really
days?
short tenures. Who was the guy from Washington? Was it Washington or Washington State? Never
Oh, he
made
was there
it,
a while.
Never made it to Alabama.
He
Actually,
was,
the coach.
Millingham, Dillingham.
No. Mike somebody.
Oh, I'm thinking about the
Yeah, there was
African-American
a
guy
Willingham.
that was pretty good. I thought.
Yeah, Tyrone Willingham.
Yeah, Tyrone. Willingham.
Yeah,
He was also a coach at Notre Dame. Tyrone Willingham.
yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. People that have been Notre Dame and lasted less than 3 days. Is anybody? I don't even know.
I don't
how
think
the
so.
time. I don't even know if
How
that
long
the
was
time
Charlie Weiss there?
He was there about 4 or 5 years.
Oh my God.
Well, we've learned that
He wasn't bad. He was.
Belichick
Worst
assistants-
Notre Dame coach of all time. I say Jerry Faust or Charlie Weiss. What do you think? You're a Notre Dame person.
I don't know if it's Charlie Weiss.
I wouldn't say it's Charlie Weiss.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks in the portal already, Pine, Pyne. Is that said? Is I say that right?
Yeah, that's Notre Dame.
No, I was going to say North Dakota, but I knew it was Notre Dame because he put ND. Notre Dame, Brennan Armstrong, Virginia, Phil Jerkovic, Boston College, and
I
I'm
can't
sure
believe he's still-
there are others.
He was at Notre Dame at one time.
Jerkovic?
Yep.
Um,
Never could win the starting job, and he went to Boston College.
Last night in college football, did you have something else?
I was just going back to Hugh Freeze. He's
Yeah.
had sexual misconduct
Yeah.
allegations. Obviously, the recruiting.
Well, now what's
Tough.
considered sexual misconduct here? I mean, let's, you know.
Well, here's another thing. Rich Hauser, I don't know, but he says Freeze has also sent messages to a lady that had accusations against a coach that is one of his friends. He had told her she needs to drop the charges and that he could never do that. Ooh.
So Freeze checks all the boxes.
He
That's
checks
why
every-
that's why he's the next coach at Auburn, right?
Checks every box to be a coach at Auburn.
Here's an interesting one too, and then I'm gonna get into these scores. And Darren Crisson weighs in this morning and asked the question. I thought about asking this one too later on. Will Deion Sanders go to Colorado?
That's that's what they're saying.
I would love to see it.
I would have liked to see him at Auburn.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see him at a big time program, and maybe Colorado's where he needs to go first. Maybe another stepping stone.
I think he does.
Not a lot of pressure.
I don't think he'll go to Colorado. He's going to get a job in the South if he wants it. I think he'll get a job in the South. Colorado,
what job is that? I mean,
there'll be something might come up that and I'm not saying it'll be the Power Fives, maybe, but it might be.
Well,
for instance, a Cincinnati, that kind of school next, a stepping stone to see how you can do at that level before you jump right in.
No, I think he could jump right in. After all,
I do too.
USC
really do.
and UCLA are going to the Big Ten, so you won't have to worry about them. You still have Oregon and Utah, of course, but I think you should. I think it'd be a good training ground for him.
But Mike, there are 30 states in the United States that have a much warmer climate than Denver, Colorado, than Colorado. I mean,
okay.
I could see him.
You think he's a warm weather guy?
Okay. Let's look at it this way. Give me what vacancies are there right now in college football? Are there any? I mean, I don't even know if there are any.
Big time. I don't know.
Any. I don't mean big time. Colorado's not big time.
Oh no.
They're in a Power 5 conference, but they're not big time right now.
Oh no, definitely not. No, their program.
But the reason I would want him to go there is because they were the first big time or Power 5 to offer him the job.
Yeah.
And I think it might be in his head. Look, they the first ones that had trust in me. That's where I'm going.
True. Very true.
But if I had to guess, I'd still say right now it's 70-30. He don't go to Colorado. He's going to wait and see what other offers come along. If they offered it, why didn't he accept it if he's going?
Yep.
Do they have any games left? Are they done?
No, they're
absolutely.
done.
Okay.
He's got a game
They go
left
1-11.
Well, that's what I just said. That's what I meant. Not Colorado. Does he have any games left?
They're letting me know they're playing for the championship.
Well, maybe he's waiting until that's over with before he makes an announcement.
Yeah, they're ready.
And he may have already told them, and he may say, but let's wait on this announcement till after my final
that could be
game.
Well, there was a day, I mean, you probably remember it, David, Colorado shared a national championship one year? Or
was that with Georgia Tech?
I think it was Georgia Tech.
I don't know.
Washington that shared with Georgia
I can't remember.
Tech.
I don't know.
But they've been good. I mean, it's been a long time. But, they've had some,
You wouldn't believe back in the day, Mike, how many years the national title was split.
I know.
What a joke that was for all those years.
That was an absolute joke.
Yeah, two teams win the national title.
Well, when Colorado was in the Big 8, they were pretty good. I mean,
but they did make a statement this week. I saw something yesterday that said it only took them 150 years, but we're going to have a 12-team playoff.
I know.
Only 150 years.
Only 150 years.
College football.
Don Revels says the only openings right now are Cincinnati, Colorado, and South Florida.
Okay.
All right, which one of those three would you pick if you had your choice today? I would go to Colorado. Me, but you know how I like Colorado.
I would rather live in Colorado than the other two places.
Yeah.
But
I'd probably take
South
the
Florida's
Cincinnati
got
job.
some
Appeal
appeal to it.
Yeah, and he's right there.
Well, now, Four suggests that Saunders is going to go to Florida State eventually.
You change his name to Saunders? Deion Saunders.
Deion Sanders.
That's Colonel.
Yeah.
That's Sanders, too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Deion
John,
Sanders
I think John Saunders.
John Saunders, the late.
Yeah, the late John Saunders. But, the Deion will eventually wind up at Florida State as alma mater. Maybe not now, but down the road.
I believe that could happen, too, but Florida State has a very good coach.
Yeah, their program looks like they're back on the rise.
Well, they went 9-3. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Mike Norvell.
Yeah, that's right. Now, he could collapse at any time, but right now he seems like the answer to that they were looking for.
I agree.
Now, there's an article here from midnight last night. Deion Sanders preparing to accept Colorado coaching job.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And you know what? Like I said, just to be the first one to offer him that kind of position, I would love to see him take that.
He reportedly spent the week making calls to fill out his coaching staff.
Yeah, he's going to take his whole staff with him.
As well as reaching out to a top player in the transfer portal.
Now, what do you see that on?
This is the Score app.
Okay. Well, it can be done, David, because look what Lincoln Riley did. 4-8 at USC, and until last night, they were in the hunt for the Final Four.
I think he took his entire Oklahoma defense with him after that 47 last night.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and that was their Achilles heel all year. They didn't really have a good defense.
Yep. They're going to have to shore that up if they're going to win games like that.
And that's
I'm
one
not
thing
saying Utah's defense was great, but it was a lot better than Southern Cal's last night.
That's the one thing he didn't do at Oklahoma. He had great offenses. I don't think anybody questions his offensive acumen, but the defenses were weak. He had to outscore people.
Yep. Yes, Rodney, we just talked about the South Florida's job being open. We did not mention Stanford, though. Rodney says Stanford did David, what's his name at Stanford?
David Shaw.
Did he leave?
Yeah.
Or did he get left?
He retired.
He retired?
He retired?
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
Well,
I got another one here.
How good a job at Stanford?
But I wonder if they already filled the position.
The next coach at Stanford, if Dion goes to Colorado, why won't God help me, the guy that played Seattle, why don't he go to Stanford? He's on Thursday Night Football now. I can see him, but I can't think of his name.
The guy that what?
Played football for Seattle for all those years, the leader in the secondary.
Sherman.
Yeah.
Richard Sherman.
Richard Sherman. Well, he just become the next head coach at
Well, yeah.
Stanford, his
Yeah.
alma mater.
Yeah, why not?
Earlier you asked if Drake May is a redshirt freshman. According to UNC site, he is a redshirt freshman.
That's what I thought.
Fun fact, he is from Huntersville, and both of his brothers went to Huff. Yes, they did. But he went to Myers Park. That's when Myers Park had 8 players that were sons of NFL players just a couple years ago. That is a tough trip in traffic each day going from Lake Norman to Myers Park. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I would not want to make that drive. Hey, Lenny might have the answer here. Alabama coach was Mike Price.
That's
that
right.
never coached a game.
That's who I'm thinking about,
Yeah,
Lenny.
Mike
Thank
Price.
you.
But O'Leary didn't ever coach a game either, did
No,
he?
he didn't.
At Notre Dame. Okay.
The Price never got to Tuscaloosa.
All O'Leary really did was have a press conference introducing him as the new coach, and then it was like a day or two later he was
I
gone.
wonder if he ever got any money out of the deal. Did they owe him his contract? And he never coached a game?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think
think
so
so.
either. I would think that
It says Stanford has reached out to Greg Roman, the Ravens offensive coordinator.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonder if he
about
has
the
ties to
vacancy.
Stanford.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't
I mean,
say.
he'd almost have to, wouldn't he? To
I would think so.
Well, Stanford's a really hard job. Now, I know people have had success there. Shaw had success himself. And we know what
Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh did there. But it's such a prestigious academic school. You got to recruit a certain kind of athlete. But
Mike is all for Mike Price. Mike Powell is all for Mike Price. I can tell by reading this. He was on the road recruiting when he became the feature story of a Sports Illustrated article about strip clubs and ladies of the night.
I've only been to a strip club once. Come on.
Oh, Lord. I find that funny, Mike Price.
I think you were with me, as a matter of fact.
I wasn't with you.
Yes, sir.
Which coach?
Brendan Eichert says Dion will not go to Stanford. No, I don't think so.
Which coach was it that was taking the pictures with the student body and the girls were kissing him and stuff on the? That wasn't Mike Price, was it?
I don't know.
I don't even remember Mike Price.
Sounds more like a who was the Louisville coach?
Petrino.
Petrino. Sounds like a Petrino thing.
Yep. There was a coach just a few years ago, and it might have been basketball. It might have been a basketball head coach, but they had pictures of him like in the dorms at parties. You guys don't remember that? He was going to parties in the dorms on campus.
That sounds like a Louisville thing.
Sounds like
anybody at Louisville.
Sounds like a Rick Pitino situation.
Anybody at the University of Louisville.
Yeah.
I'm going through this real quick, and then we got to take a timeout. Last night, Southern Cal fell hard to Utah, 47-24. Utah beat them twice this season.
The first one was 1 point, but this one was a lot more.
Buffalo defeated Akron last night, 23-22. That's an odd score, and there was a high school score by the same numbers last night. That's odd. Texas, San Antonio, 48. North Texas, 27, 48-27. Here's your schedule for today. It all kicks off at high noon, so be ready. Kansas State TCU is your first game of the day, along with Toledo and Ohio. Like I'm going to watch a battle of Ohio before I watch. And there will be some. I'm just joking there. K-State and TCU. That's a pretty good matchup, and TCU has a lot on the line. That one's in Jerry's world today. at 12 noon, which means that's an 11 a.m. start.
11, it starts
Central
11
time.
out there, yeah.
Valparaiso at New Mexico State at 3 o'clock. You got Coastal Carolina playing Troy. I'm guessing that's conference title game?
It is.
Yeah.
It's Sun Belt. One question on that one, David. I heard that. How about the Coastal Carolina coach? Is he in the running? I mean, I think he's ready to make a move.
He's been pretty good. He's been pretty consistent.
He certainly has.
Built a nice program.
Yeah, they have been good.
And what's the name of that? The town there, Mike, right before you get to
Conway.
Myrtle Beach? Conway. Thank
yeah.
you.
Well, who wouldn't want to play at there? Because you're just 2 miles from the beach. A few miles, anyway.
Yeah, but it's Myrtle Beach.
Well, that's
LSU is at number 1 Georgia, 4 o'clock on CBS. Also, Central Florida goes to Tulane. Fresno State at Boise State. Michigan not at home. Where's that one played? Let's see.
Indianapolis.
Lucas Oil. Yep, Lucas Oil in the Colts building. Michigan. They need some football in there. Colts haven't provided any. Michigan at home at Indianapolis will take on Purdue, and Clemson and North Carolina at 8 o'clock on ABC. How much interest do you have in that one?
well, I mean,
None.
I'll watch it.
yeah.
I'll watch it. Just, I mean, it may not be something I'm sitting there with,
If Clemson still just had the one loss, I'd have a lot more interest in it. But
If they were in the running,
I've
for
got a
the
question
playoff.
for you guys, and you're going to love this one, Mike Powell.
All right.
If Terrell Owens describes the big game as better get your popcorn ready, how would you describe Clemson, Carolina? We'll be back in a moment.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stiefel Nicholas can assist you. Call Fort Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Welcome back. Glad to have you with us on Sports Talk. It is raining.
Yep.
I just look out. It either is raining or has rained.
Well, I'll say this: it got a lot darker.
Yeah, it did.
The last 20
I
minutes.
see it dripping off of the
boy.
vehicles, but it's
boy.
supposed to be out here by noon. Very fast moving.
Oh, okay.
But boy, get ready for the next 8 days or so.
Really?
I think
Yeah,
7 out of 8.
I'm worried about next Saturday.
It's the only one on there that's clear right now, but that's subject to change as the week goes along. You know. Hugh Freeze, is Auburn just desperate to win, right? I mean, they got to win games. You know, it's in the SEC. The competition is there every single day. What did Auburn go this year? 4-8,
something like that.
Yeah.
6-6, 4-8, maybe 5-7. I'm not exactly sure what their record wound up.
I mean, when you run off a coach of the stature of Gus Malzahn,
I still had never figured that out.
5-7.
5-7. Where do you wind up? Hey, he's coaching somewhere.
Yeah, he is.
South Florida, Central Florida,
UCF,
Okay.
Central Florida. Yeah, and they've got a game today. They're in a title game, I think.
Lenny says, I'm not even sure O'Leary ever signed his contract. You know, so he may not have had a contract that didn't have.
All I remember is him having a press conference.
Yeah.
Yep. He also says, I heard the Coastal coach, Jamie Caldwell, has been mentioned as a candidate for Liberty, which you guys told me when we were off the air.
Ford just
that sounds like a lateral move to me.
Me too.
Is what Lenny says.
agree.
More of a lateral move. But you know what? A lateral move with twice the paycheck is not a lateral move in the coach's eyes. You know, and I'm not saying he's getting twice the paycheck. I don't know if he would or not. I have no idea.
That's true.
But
I mean, Liberty can offer him. They might offer him $5 million a year.
and also look at his background. Maybe he's from Virginia.
Could be.
The coach. I don't know. I'm just throwing different things out there. Sometimes it's not all about which program you're going from and to. It's more like I'm getting home or I'm getting extra. I'm getting a lot more money. I take care of my family better because of the money. And what conference does Liberty play in?
The
USA.
Which to me, I think the Sun Belt is a better conference than Conference USA.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Seems like
I think
football wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely seems like it.
Conference USA championship was yesterday, and that Texas San Antonio beat North Texas.
Okay.
So those
There
were the
you
best
go.
two teams in it.
Yeah. Well.
So where did Liberty finish? If Liberty, I thought Liberty might have won their conference. I guess that tells me no.
What was Liberty's record this year, Brett? Check that
Oh, no.
if you don't mind.
They're not in that. I think they're independent.
Okay. They're not.
wow.
They're not.
Yeah, they're independent.
Whoa.
They went 8-4.
8-4.
I know they
as an
beat
independent.
Arkansas. That raised some eyebrows.
Well, I knew they had to have a good record, or this coach, Hugh Freeze wouldn't have been.
They lost their
getting
last
the
three.
calls. Wow.
Ah.
Connecticut, Virginia Tech, and New Mexico
Hugh Freeze
State.
had already committed to Auburn.
New Mexico State beat them 49-14 last week.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's like Lincoln Riley, who checked out early on Oklahoma. I think he was on his way to the plains of Alabama.
They did beat BYU and Arkansas.
I just threw a trivia question at me. Who's the best player ever out of New Mexico State?
Ooh,
And I may have this wrong. It might be New Mexico, but I think it's New Mexico State.
I don't know.
We'll see if somebody sends me an answer that best football player ever out of New. And I think he went to New Mexico State. I hope I'm not getting that wrong. And in fact, it was New Mexico.
Brett, did I hear you say they lost to UConn and Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
A bad Virginia Tech team, a UConn team that was, well, Jim Mora coached them, and they really improved. But come on, it's not exactly a great resume this year for Hugh. Anyway,
Don Rebel says Hugh Freeze was allegedly calling escort services with his Ole Miss issued cell phone while he was there.
Just allegedly. Pete Rose allegedly bet on game. I mean, I'm standing by my athletes and coaches.
I think it was more than allegedly on the using the company phone to call escort service.
Lenny says you're probably right with Chadwell there. Could be other reasons, and I'm guessing he's talking about the reason that. Yeah, it is. He says that Chadwell may be wanting to go to Virginia. Just different reasons other than program, stature.
Stature of the program. Yeah.
And
And I'm
totally
sure
agree
he's
with
going to
that.
be offered a lot more money.
Yep. I think so too. Real quickly, I want to run down the pro football schedule for you. Of course, a couple nights ago, Buffalo manhandled New England in Foxborough, 24-10. Pittsburgh at Atlanta. These are 1:00 games on Sunday. Green Bay at Chicago. Jacksonville at Detroit. The Jets at Minnesota. All of a sudden, that's a marquee matchup, the Jets and the Vikings. Washington at New York. That's a big game as well. Washington would be the 7th seed in the playoffs if it ended today. They would be the 7th. Every team in the NFC East would be in the playoffs at this point. That's going to change because they're going to start beating up on each other down the stretch. Tennessee
Washington
at
plays the
Philadelphia.
Giants
Is that not what I said?
tomorrow. So yeah, one of them's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
one of them's going
yeah.
to lose.
I thought.
Well, now,
I thought maybe
Brett,
I
you're a
made a
Washington
mistake.
fan, right?
Yeah.
So is Taylor Heineke the QB of the future?
Thank you, Rodney. You did answer my question correctly, and you also corrected me, and it is New. I thought the whole time it's
New
not New
Mexico.
Mexico State, but it's New Mexico. So you
I
want to
have
guess
no
now?
idea.
Because Rodney's got it.
Give me the position.
Linebacker.
I don't know.
I'll give it away. Bears.
Oh.
Maybe I didn't give it away.
Well, I know it wasn't Butkus because he played at Illinois.
Yeah. Keep going. They have a long line of stud middle linebackers.
Mike Singletary. Oh, Urlacher. Okay.
Urlacher went to New Mexico.
Urlacher. Okay. Singletary went to Texas Tech, I believe, didn't he?
I'll go with that. I don't really know. But thank you, Rodney. I thought whenever I said that it might not be New Mexico State. So we still don't know who the best player all time is out of New Mexico State, or I don't anyway. Other games tomorrow, we left off with Washington and the New York Giants. Tennessee at Philadelphia.
Big one.
That's going to be a good game, I think.
Yeah, that's a
Tennessee.
big
Lenny says Urlacher. Tennessee beaten last week by a really good Bengals team. But on the road, they'll be looking to rebound here. I think this could be really close. Is this the, what you call it, the A.J., what's his name, the receiver, A.J.
Brown.
Bo here? Because,
he played for
one to the other.
Yeah.
Denver at Baltimore. Denver is the most pathetic offense I've seen in the NFL in quite some time.
Are they going to let the Denver coach finish the year?
I think their defense is leading the league in points allowed. Yet they can't get enough offense to win a game.
Nope.
Here's another one. Somebody says Rodney says Singletary is another one there, and you mentioned Singletary. Where'd you say he went, Mike?
I say he went to Texas Tech.
Brr.
Wrong.
Try again. Same conference.
A&M.
And while you're trying to think of, if you hit it, I'll tell you. I'll say that
TCU.
you're in the right state.
I know I'm in the right
The whole
state.
conference is in the
Baylor.
state. Hey, bingo.
Oh,
Baylor. He
Baylor.
once a bear, always a
Always
bear.
a bear.
That's what
That's right.
that's what Singletary was going for.
That's right.
Cleveland is at Houston. The return.
of
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
There was a fan called in the other day on Dan Patrick and said, "I'll bet you right now we run the table. I'll bet you a meat pie
Make the playoff.
in the face. A meat pie." And they declined right quick. They didn't want to waste meat. But he said, "I'll bet you a meat pie in the face that the Browns run the table." And I can't remember who.
No.
I think it might have been Fritzy that jumped up and said, "I will take that bet." I don't
No
have a
way.
problem taking that bet. Seattle at the Rams, Miami at San Francisco. That's a good matchup.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday
That's
at
probably
4:05.
the big matchup Sunday.
Kansas City, Cincinnati.
That's a big
Maybe
one,
a
too.
touch bigger. Is that last year's AFC Championship game?
Yeah.
I started to say the Angels. The Chargers at Vegas. Upstart Vegas there, Rodney. Won 2 in a row in overtime.
So I guess that means that what's the quarterback's name? Drew.
Oh, he's out at the end of the year. I heard if he stays to March, you have to give him $40 million.
No.
He's not.
But at least he's not crying.
He's not going to get
post-game
$40
press
million
conferences.
from the Raiders, I wouldn't think.
No.
Indianapolis at Dallas is your Sunday night game. New Orleans at Tampa Bay is your Monday night game. So
Yeah.
to me, a couple
Monday night.
a couple of dogs, both those.
Well, and another
Sunday and
thing, if you
Monday.
guys notice, of course, the
Blowouts.
duo of Troy Aikman and
Joe Buck.
Joe Buck went to Monday night, but they just had blah games for the most part.
I will say this. New Orleans and Tampa Bay will probably be a very competitive game.
It will.
I think
they're
Dallas,
always
Yeah.
close.
Dallas beats Indianapolis by 21 or more, I would think, playing at home and what they've got to play for now. Hugh Freeze got busted. This is Jason. Hugh Freeze got busted for calls to escorts because former Ole Miss coach Houston Nutt was doing a Freedom of Information Act on the school. Nutt was trying to find out who snitched on him when he was at Ole Miss, and he uncovered the phone
phone call,
records
yeah.
of Hugh Freeze. Thank you, Jason.
That's
And,
good.
Jason,
I
I
didn't
thought
know
you'd
that.
still be trying to sleep off that loss last night.
Ooh, tough,
But,
Jason.
Yep. Lenny says Baylor on Singletary. Yeah, that was a tough, I'll just say an AW that they took last night from
It was.
from what looked to me to be a very good Utah team. If Utah played like that all the time, they wouldn't have lost to those schools that we saw that they lost to this year, the UCLA, Florida,
Yeah.
and there was one more. Did we ever figure out who that
Oregon.
was? Oregon, yeah.
Oregon.
Yeah, 3-point loss at Oregon.
Well,
And
Oregon's
that
a
was
good-
in the middle of Oregon's run
Yeah,
while they
Oregon's
were
a good
doing well.
team. They were when they won 8 or 7 or 8 in a row there. Yeah.
Yep, that was in the midst of that. So, yeah, Utah's pretty stout. Still,
Who's their coach?
I
He's
know. That's
underrated.
what I was going to say. I still don't know the name of their coach because I haven't looked it up.
That guy's
So,
underrated.
yeah.
By the way, Jamie Chadwell is from Tennessee and played at East Tennessee State.
Okay.
Well, there's no jobs open in Tennessee.
Not far from here. What's that? About 2 hours, 2.5 hours from
Yeah.
Kyle Whittingham.
Kyle Whittingham.
Utah
That's
head
right.
coach.
That's right.
Kyle Whittingham.
Yeah.
And heck
All
of a
right.
job out there.
The East
Went to
Lincoln
BYU.
East Lincoln Mustangs advanced to next Saturday's state championship, and Jason says he just says it right just a second after you, Brett. Whittingham, Kyle Whittingham, head man at Utah, doing a great job. I'll say that.
Oh, yeah.
Doing a great job.
What's the quarterback's name?
Utah
Cam?
football is actually better than we ever get credit for with Utah and
It is.
BYU in there. I'm not sure about Utah State. I don't know as much about them, but what their record is or anything. But not a bad state for football, and we don't normally look at the state of Utah as a football state. East Lincoln 14, South Point 7. We'll get into that in just a minute. It was Reedsville over Burns, 32-14. We heard that Burns was not able to pick up a first down in the first half of that game last night against that Reedsville defense. Mount Airy defeats Drone, ending Drone's magical season, 35-6. And Weddington fell to Grimsley last night, 28-27. In the East, 3A, East Lincoln's will go up against Northern Nash. Northern Nash defeated Fayetteville 71st, 23-22. In 2A, East Duplin defeated Wallace Rosehill for the second time this season. They doubled their margin of victory. They won by 1 point back during the regular season. Last night they win 28-26, a 2-point win.
Wow.
And Brett said Wallace Rosehill scored on a 70-yard pass with 35 seconds to go, went for 2 and didn't get it. and then East Duplin recovered the onside
Why
kick.
don't you just go for the tie and play it for
Mike, they
overtime?
had to have the 2 to tie.
Oh, the tie. That's
See, they lost by 2.
by 2. My math is failing.
Please
me
don't
again.
let Mike Powell coach football.
My elementary math
Under a
is
minute, he's
failing
going to kick
again.
the extra point.
The reason I
Going
said
down
that is
2.
because I've seen it so many times this year, going for 2, taking points off the board. I don't get it.
Let me go ahead and tell you, the old theory is, Mike, on the road, go for 2 in the win if you're in that situation. Last night, on the road or at home, the theory is go for 2 to tie.
And my theory is
Well,
go.
yeah, of course.
My
Last
theory
night
is
you had
go
to
for two because I do not trust a kicking game in
Too
high
many
school.
things have to go right.
Well, what are the percentages of getting a 2-point conversion in high school?
At Lincoln, the same as getting an extra
Higher.
point.
Higher.
I'd say in most
50-50.
I would say in most high schools it is 50-50.
Yeah, because you're right. High school kicking being what it is.
You got that select. I would say maybe 10 to 20% that have the kicker.
I wanted
you
to
can count on
see
to make
South
every kick.
Point score a touchdown last night just to see what they would do.
I know. I did. Yeah. Of course.
And they have as good of a kicker as anybody around here.
Yeah, they do have a good kick.
But they also have the kind of offense that can line up and get
3
yards.
3 yards. Yep.
I'm gonna finish these scores, and I'm gonna tell you something. I got a text that I was off my rocker.
Love it.
I can't
Emotion.
wait. Yeah, that's a good
Emotion.
tease. I'm gonna leave you right there. I was off my rocker. I love that's the only part I'm gonna read, Don. I'll get to tell you what he means in just a moment. Very nice text from Don Revels. Let's see, in the East, Tarboro, imagine that, over Northmore, 35-7. Tarboro will be playing for their 8th state championship since 2000. Reidsville will be playing for their 10th state championship since 2000. 10th since 2000. Think about that. That would best Shelby by 1. Mm-hmm. Right now they're even. Weddington, let's see, I already gave you that one. 71st falls to Northern Nash. That's East Lincoln's opponent, 23-22. I gave you Tarboro, Wallace Rose Hill, and the only other one left is the 4A, which Newbern, who never puts the ball in the air, right, Brett? 35-27 over Millbrook. 35-27 over Millbrook, which was a very competitive game. Last week, Newbern scored 10 touchdowns and did not attempt to pass. That's amazing. 10 I don't know what they did last night in that department, but last week 10 touchdowns without.
Somebody said on Facebook earlier, guys. Speaking of Mount Airy, they run a triple option out of a quarterback.
Shotgun.
Shotgun.
Okay. I read your mind there. That's scary.
Which is pretty unusual, huh?
Yeah. Well, every now and then you see that, but. It's going to be a
I
fast
saw
moving
Wallace
football
Rosehill
game
doing
when they
that.
play. It's going to be a fast.
Well, I don't know if you
moving
call
game.
it a triple option, but they run the ball
Yeah, not maybe triple.
out of shotgun.
Yeah, maybe not the triple option, the true triple
Mount Airy
option.
used to do it. Probably still do.
That's who he said.
That's what I'm-
I'm sorry, Mountain Heritage.
Oh yeah,
Mountain Heritage.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
I did.
Mountain Heritage is who I meant to say.
but they didn't have the fullback behind the quarterback. That's what it makes me think is
Yeah.
he's in shotgun, but the fullback is still behind the quarterback.
Yeah, like in a pistol thing.
It is, yeah.
Well, isn't the zone read? That's option.
It
I mean,
is.
you have
Yeah.
the option to read the defensive
You're just
player,
not going to pitch it a lot.
not gonna
You just
pitch it
gotta
a
lot. Right.
Hand it to the
which
back.
is a
or
lot
keep-
safer.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fumbles in that, though. You can see. I mean, a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
times they don't take it out to the last second, or they don't
second.
give it to the last
They
second.
don't make the decision.
Yeah.
quick
Yeah, I just
enough.
call that the read option.
read option. Yeah.
Here's a couple different messages. Speaking of baseball, I just saw, and I'm going to leave this part blank for you. I just saw that blank got a big payday this week with a $185 million contract for 5 years to the Rangers.
That's right.
Well, you mean it's right.
I heard it on the way up
I
here
wanted
on
you to fill in the
ESPN.
blank.
Jacob DeGrom.
Jacob DeGrom.
DeGrom.
Yeah, 5 years. Well earned. I mean, if anybody deserves it, it's somebody like that, right? 5 years, $185 million. And you know what? They all deserve it because the teams are willing to pay it. That's the way I look
That's
at it.
exactly right.
They all deserve it when the teams
Whatever
are
your market
willing
value
to pay
is,
it.
or somebody's willing to pay you.
Speaking of Utah State, here we go. This is going to be good. Now, this is really good trivia question. Speaking of Utah State, this is from Rodney. Arguably the greatest athlete to ever play there was also one of my favorite players and actors.
Actors.
Yep.
Yeah. Ooh. Utah State.
He has a great life mission statement. The focus of my life begins with family. He's passed now, I'll go ahead and tell you that. With family, loved ones, and friends, I want to use my resources to create a secure environment. This is from the player that I'm speaking of here. That fosters love, learning, laughter, and mutual success. I will protect and value integrity. I will admit and quickly correct my mistakes. I will be a self-starter. I will be. Boy, he wrote a lot of things he needs to do.
Yeah.
I will be a caring person. I will be a good listener with an open mind. Mike can scratch that one off about the good listener. I will continue to grow and learn. I will facilitate and celebrate the success of others. And that is from one.
Ooh.
Played in the 60s and the 70s for the L.A. Rams.
Oh.
And was a player and an actor. That's about as much as I can give you right
actor.
there.
Oh, it's right on.
And was
Merlin Olsen.
Teamed with Dick Enberg was going to be my next for a long time. He was teamed up with
I was thinking O.J., player and actor.
yeah. I left out Killer.
I don't think that's
How
his.
about Killer?
I don't think that's his life statement or motto.
No, probably not.
Merlin Olsen, yeah.
Lenny Anthony guessed correctly with Merlin Olsen.
I was looking at famous Utah players.
Yep. Now we're going to talk a little bit about East Lincoln. And
Who's the most famous Utah
We're not going
player?
to take a break.
most famous
so I can get
Utah-
my notes out.
Brigham Young. Steve Young. Of course, Steve Young went to BYU. But
Who
does
else
he
went
play now? Does he play now? Brett?
Well, I don't know who the most famous is.
Oh.
I got a list.
Oh. Well,
Who's the other famous QB that went to Brigham Young?
Ty Detmer.
And
Steve Young.
Coy Detmer, Ty's brother.
Yeah, Coy Detmer. Another famous quarterback that went to BYU. It's way back in the day, isn't it?
no, it was in the 80s.
In the 80s. And now that's way back in the day. We just don't like to look at it that way.
I know. I got to remember how old I am.
Oh, man. Utah player Steve Smith says Lenny.
A two-time winning Super Bowl coach.
Yep.
Went to Utah.
Utah player Steve Smith says Rodney.
Two-time.
And I'm going to get to yours, Don Revels, I promise.
A two-time Super Bowl winning coach.
Went to Utah.
Yeah.
To Utah.
Played at Utah.
And there are not that many coaches that have won multiple.
He was
Super
an
Bowls.
assistant for 3 Super Bowls and then won 2 as a head coach.
Wow.
Joe Gibbs.
No.
Golly, now that one's got me puzzled.
Not a lot of coaches have won 2.
Don Shula. I'm just
Yeah.
trying. I guess that's wrong. He didn't say anything.
Now this guy was with the same team for all 5 Super Bowls.
Not Tom Landry. No. Jimmy Johnson. No, he didn't win that many.
Further back than
Bill.
Jimmy Johnson.
Further back. Further back, the man says.
Who was the coach who took the Giants to 2 titles?
Not Tom Flores. Because the Raiders had different coaches every year when they won it, right? I mean, they didn't.
Well, what
John
teams
Madden.
have won 5 Super Bowls?
Yeah, what team? Oh, they've had to win 5?
He won 3 as an assistant and 2 as a head coach. All with
Bill
one
Walsh. Bill Walsh.
It's not Bill Walsh.
It's not Bill Walsh. It's
Oh, baby.
it's not Mike Tomlin.
Bill Walsh was on the right track.
Bill. Okay, so
it wasn't George Seifert.
That's it.
for sure.
George
George
Seifert.
It
Seifert.
is George
Yeah.
Seifert.
Did he win 2 as the head coach?
Yeah.
I thought he just won 1.
That's what I thought.
So George Seifert.
3 as an assistant, 2 as a head coach.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I keep when I think of George Seifert, all I can think of is that 1-15 season with the Panthers that he had.
Rodney says he played with Jordan Gross at Utah and the Carolina Panthers. That's Steve Smith, Jordan Gross, who also went to the Panthers. Best Utah college basketball player, Keith Van Horn.
Oh yeah,
That also comes
Yeah, Steve
from
Smith
Rodney.
probably is their most famous
And then
football player.
Yeah.
Alex Smith also.
Lenny asked if was it Walsh, and as we were talking about Bill Walsh, talking about the previous question, and I might have to plug my computer in. One last time out we got to do, and then I'm going to get to Don Revel's comment. I promise you when we come back.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back to Sports Talk. Final segment this morning. 15 minutes left with you folks this morning. Couple things rolling in. I want to mention these real quick. Lenny says we were talking about John Hadle a couple weeks ago. I saw earlier this week he passed away.
All right.
Also, the old spitballer Gaylord Perry. We lost Gaylord Perry as well this week. John
Hadle. Know that.
And Gaylord.
I had not heard about Gaylord.
Yep, Gaylord. I saw it on Channel 3 News is where I learned about Gaylord Perry, I think. But yeah, that's well, it's as for us, Mike, and a lot of people, we are losing some of the heroes.
We are from our youth
Yep.
and our younger days. That's true.
Yep, that's just the way it works.
And it's going to keep
It's
coming.
just the way
so.
it works. We're going to get into the high school football here to finish out. We've already given the scores and already talked about it a little bit. But well, I got to find something real quick. I got to tell you guys what Don Revels said to me. The first thing I saw was "Off Your Rocker." I love it, and he's not
cool.
not referring to John Rocker
I was referring to
either.
you.
Sullivan's getting him a seat. Here's the way this starts. I owe you an apology. When you said East Lincoln's defense was the best you've ever seen, I thought you were off your rocker. After seeing them the last 2 weeks, I have to agree. Excellent assessment. LOL.
Okay.
I wanted to ask something earlier.
They're one of the best I've seen.
Is this the best East Lincoln team of all time? Or do you have to go with Chaz Surratt's team just because of Chaz Surratt?
Well, if they finish it off, you might this team would make an argument.
Well, as far as the record goes, it would be equal because Chaz played on a 16-0 team.
That's
the
right.
first state championship was not 16-0, right? It was.
I think did they lose a game?
They lost one or two, I think, during the season.
Did they?
But I don't think they were
don't
both
know.
16-0.
No.
That's something we can probably.
No, I
find out.
know they lost their quarterback for a while, and Chaz had to fill in as a freshman
right.
and play quarterback.
Yeah.
The quarterback that year was who?
Garrett Young.
Garrett Young.
So you say Chaz only quarterbacked one of those state championships?
That's what
Yes.
I'm saying. He
Okay.
played his basic position as a freshman was what? Outside
Receiver
linebacker?
and
Receiver and
and some
outside linebacker.
defense.
I think East Lincoln has 4 guys on their defense that are going Division I, and that's
Yeah, they do.
that's a lot at a
This is Marcel Johnson, the other kid, the DN, Brad something. I'll find it. And of
well,
course,
you got Cutter, you got
you got
Walker.
Cutter, you got DeAndre Walker. Yeah.
I think it's Keandre. Or
And on the offensive
maybe it is
side of the
DeAndre.
ball,
They went undefeated.
both times.
Both times.
Did they?
times?
Okay.
okay.
Well, if they win the state, it's going to be the 3rd time then. that
And
they've
this one
ran
just
the
says
table.
13-0. I don't know
No,
why there were less games.
I don't either. Because of the subdivision? No.
Had nothing to do with it. They still played.
I know it
16.
was one less playoff game.
Yeah.
My buddy Marty, I had to tell him yesterday that they're not playing any more games than they did when we had subdivision. You still played 16. It's just that the regular season's been dropped.
Yeah,
one.
you drop one
And they add
game
one
from
to
the regular
playoffs.
season, right.
So if you win one, you're still going to win 16 games, just like
Yeah.
it's been,
Yeah.
for quite some time.
I wonder if there's games missing from this schedule from then. I
Could
can't
be.
imagine they only played 13.
And I didn't think they went undefeated in one of them. I honestly thought that the first one they won, they were not undefeated. But
That's
maybe
what
I'm
I
wrong.
thought.
Maybe I'm totally wrong about that.
The Garrett Young team.
Yeah.
I thought they'd maybe lost a game.
Yeah. But, to me, they just are one of the best defenses, if not the best defense I've ever seen in high school football. I mean, they get what they hold. You told me at South Point that mighty rushing attack was held to right at 130 yards.
The mighty Red Bone of South Point.
130 yards.
152 yards
152.
rushing is all they managed.
Okay.
100 yards passing, but they had East Lincoln picked off
But
2 passes and
it-
recovered a fumble.
And it took a lot of attempts to get those 100 yards passing, Mike, because he missed on quite a few.
Yeah. Well, actually 10.
10,
10,
yeah.
2 interceptions, 100 yards. So, according to my stuff,
So how many did he complete out of 10?
5.
5.
Yep. He did. He had the one big one when DeAndre Walker apparently either slipped or
Yeah.
came up limping, and the guy was wide open. But I don't think he would have been had Walker been on his
If
feet.
South Point throws the ball 10 times, they're in desperation
Yeah.
mode. You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
they were last night. They had to be. They had to
Yeah.
be because they were down 14-0 late.
I
Yeah,
just
they-
pulled up East Lincoln's schedule from 2014, and I found a team I had forgotten about, the Q Foundation.
The Q Foundation. Yeah.
They probably lost that game.
But no, they went undefeated.
Did they?
16-0 in
16-0.
2014.
Okay.
But going back, they beat North Lincoln by 1. They beat Forest View by 7.
Okay, you know how they beat North Lincoln by 1?
Blocked an extra point.
Chaz
Chaz
Surratt.
Surratt blocked an extra point.
They brought him in just to try and get to that extra point, and he blocked it.
He blocked it. Wow. adding to his legend.
Yes.
They beat Franklin by 10 in the regional final,
Yeah,
and
remember
Washington
that
by 1.
Yeah, the Pam Pack.
I think this team's the best team they've ever had.
The one they got now? Yeah.
Better
Numbers-wise, you'd have to say so.
Better than the Surratt team.
That team allowed 294 points.
And they're doing it in 3A, which, by the way, I'm saying it's 3A, but I think 3A and 2A are very close, if not exact, on the same level.
It's 3A and it's not a split 3A.
It's not split, true. That's right. That's right. Will this would be their first state title if they win that's not split?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, you talk about their balance on offense. I had them with 218 yards rushing, 175 passing. That's what they've done all year. Balanced attack.
Yep.
Been able to do it.
It is.
Both
It
ways.
is. I thought at one point last night, I said it pretty early in the game to Mike and Brett, I said if Mazzell keeps running the ball like that, he won't finish the game because somebody's going to eventually nail him. And they did slow down on him running it. I think he only ran it out of desperation.
But he had a good game running the football, 14 carries, 77 yards. That's productive. A lot of those were not just the zone reads either. He just – and, of course, he did scramble. Remember, and that's the one thing he does. Mm-hmm. Very hard to sack him. According to Matt Beam,
I don't know if they got him but once or twice maybe.
Kings Mountain never sacked him at all last week, even though they went into that game with 66 sacks as a team.
That says a lot about him and the offensive line.
He's very – I mean, he's got quick feet. He's very hard to pin down and sack him.
Brett pointed out that all the higher seeds that were at home last night and all 8 won those games last night. All the teams that played on their home turf won their games last night, although, several were decided by one possession, with Grimsley a 1-point winner over Weddington, East Duplin a 2-point winner over Wallace Rosehill, Northern Nash a 1-point winner over 71st. Just a glance at this, Brett. Did I go 8-0 last night?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I did. And if I did, Mike did.
Yeah, because we had the same pick.
Oh, no, we didn't. We didn't go 8-0. Wallace Rosehill lost.
That's right.
I think that's the only one.
I went 5-3.
I think that may be the only one we missed. Was
our little contest was,
it's a runaway.
Terry Reinhardt ran away with it. Congrats to him.
Yep, it's a runaway. When I said in my email the other day I didn't know if he'd ever won it, he quickly informed me that he had won twice.
Oh, okay. He is the king.
No, over there's the king.
Oh, yeah, Brett has one more.
Yep.
You mean I've never
This
won
ends
one?
his 3-year run.
Ooh, 3-year run.
Right, Brett?
Yeah.
Ding dong, the king is dead.
I thought it was a wicked witch.
Or a wicked witch. Yeah.
But biggest surprise last night, if I asked you in high school football, was...
Oh, here's something, Sheldon Abernathy. If East Lincoln wins, it'll be the only school in Lincoln County to win a 2A state title and a 3A state title. Is that right?
And the only one with 3.
The only one with 3.
Yep. That is exactly right.
All right. Thank you, Shelton.
A former East Lincoln player.
That's right.
By the way.
I wasn't surprised by anything last night.
No?
The Burns not getting a first down in the first half was, that was surprising, but.
Yeah, that was, given what they had done with their offense all year.
And I guess, I was a little surprised that Drone only scored 1 touchdown against Mount Airy.
Yeah,
I picked Mount Airy to win, but
some points.
But I thought Drone could play with them. But
if I go down through here, I'm not surprised that Grimsley beat Weddington in a close game. I expected whoever won to win in a close game, and I had Grimsley as my pick. I am not surprised how Wallace Rosehill and East Duplin turned out because it was a 1-point game the first time.
Yeah.
Same team winning.
Yeah.
Know absolutely nothing about Fayetteville 71st and Northern Nash. I'll find out more this week because East Lincoln's going to be playing Northern Nash. So, but that was the 1 and the 2 seed, wasn't it? And they were both undefeated. So it's exactly what you'd expect, a 1-point game. No surprise. And no surprise Tarboro won by 4 touchdowns.
No.
That's never. A surprise. I'd like to see Tarboro hook up with Reidsville. That'd be the game that would draw a lot of attention. New beat Millbrook 35-27. No surprise there. I hate to tell you this. I'm not surprised Reidsville beat Burns handily. I'm not. 18-point win last night. I'm just not, because you go to Reidsville that home field's worth 2 touchdowns, and that's what they won by, 2+ actually.
Reidsville has 33 interceptions on the season.
That's
one
incredible.
short of the state record. High Point Central in '99 had 34.
They'll probably get one next
Well,
week.
I wonder
If they don't,
if East Duplin will throw the ball enough.
yeah, for them to get one. Yes, because they're going to be behind. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but they're going to have
Let's
to throw it
face
because
it,
they're going to be behind.
all these state title games are a battle of styles. You know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Eastern teams tend to run the football almost exclusively.
And Deontay Neal is 4 interceptions away from the Reidsville career record.
And he
he
is
is a freshman
Freshman.
with 13.
13 interceptions as a 9th grader.
And Reidsville has
That
returned 8 of those interceptions for touchdowns this year.
That's all?
God, 8 touchdowns.
With the speed they got, I'm surprised, really.
And Flippin took one back 98 yards
pick
last
sixes.
night.
So what I saw was 100 was actually 98.
98's what it said on NC Preps.
Their defensive front must get tremendous pressure on quarterbacks. I mean,
I was told they do. I'm not surprised Mount Airy beat Drone 35-6. I'm not surprised East Lincoln and South Point. I had it a one-possession game, a 7-point
I think
game.
almost everybody
but-
that picked
but,
did have it a
I
one-possession
wasn't
game.
the only thing I was surprised about the whole night is I thought East Lincoln and South Point would both score a little more.
I did too. I picked 27-20.
That's not much. I had it higher than that, 31-24.
Yeah.
So.
East Lincoln had a lot of chances to
They
score.
did.
To score
They
more.
did.
South Point didn't have many chances.
Very few.
Not till the fourth quarter.
No.
Yeah.
You know, and most of their chances came in the fourth quarter.
And there was
desperation.
The drive before South Point's last drive, they got the ball across midfield and looked like they were driving and going to score, and they got a holding call that set them back. And that, I mean, I thought that ended up being maybe the key play of the game.
Well,
South Point had a first down. They were going to have first down around the East Lincoln's 30.
Yep.
And instead it pushed them back to like a 2nd and 18.
Yep.
And they couldn't recover from that. They ended up getting sacked on 4th down.
yeah, Brad, you talked about East Lincoln having other chances. They had a turnover on downs on their second possession at the South Point 7. So that was a scoring chance.
That was second drive of the game, right?
Then they missed field goals of 47 and 34 yards. So
Scott Klunger says, first time in a long time I've seen the defense hold down South Point like that.
I know.
And
And East Lincoln had they had an interception that they ran back for a touchdown that got called back
That's right.
to about the 30. And they didn't score on that drive
no,
where they
didn't.
took over at South Point's 30.
Yeah, that's right. They didn't score on.
You know,
that
I didn't
drive.
tell people my score, so people that asked me what I thought would happen, I looked like a genius, I guess, because I said East Lincoln by 7.
Yeah.
That's all. I didn't tell them what my pick was, the score. I didn't tell them I had them scoring a lot more, and I just said East Lincoln by 7.
I was impressed with the way South Point's defense played.
Yeah, they did.
Also.
Yeah, they played really good.
Did a pretty good job against East Lincoln.
And let's not forget, South Point had a freshman quarterback
I know.
that started
Yeah.
ever since game 1.
Yeah,
You know,
He's
when
gonna
the
be-
first guy was injured.
it's gonna be good.
But they lose a lot.
Well,
but
Brett and I think he'll move to fullback.
that's a good
Yeah.
that's a good guy to build around.
He is, particularly in that quarterback position, so important in that offense. How about Cam Medlock? Is he a senior?
He's a senior.
Okay.
Yeah. And they have a lot of good linemen that are
will
seniors.
leave.
Yeah.
Now, nobody will. I got a text and it's not labeled who it is. I don't know who it's from, but it said East Lincoln versus Reidsville would be fun. You know, that's something we'll never know.
Yeah.
No,
I'm gonna tell you, other than the 4A's, the one team I would not want to face in the whole thing is Reidsville.
is reachable.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
this
it's
year.
just something about it. Yeah, well, not just this year. The next 3, with all those
Yeah.
freshmen they got that
Oh, yeah.
that are
My God.
big time players in that system.
Yeah, it will run through Reidsville for the next couple of years.
We don't know yet that we'll be on the air next Saturday. I'll just go ahead and give you a heads up. We may leave early and go watch 3 games next Saturday. The 3 of us may take off, go early, and watch 3 football games next Saturday, depending on what the weather situation basically is. You know, if it's going to be raining all day, hey, we might just wait and go to the broadcast game of East Lincoln and I started to say Tarboro, but it's not Tarboro. It's Northern Nash. East Lincoln and Northern Nash. But that'll be at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock from Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh.
Press conference, 10 a.m. Monday in Charlotte, Bank of America
Bank
Stadium.
of America. How about that? We got to go for Brett, Mike, and Sullivan. I'm David. See you next week.